Welcome to the Johnstone Cafferty Group. Training on the Daikin One translation adapter for the S21 connection on the Mini and the Multi. This video was not made to replace the installation manual. Please refer to your installation manual. I will be highlighting sections of the manual during our conversation. Starting with this one right here, do not splice the communication wires. After installation of the translation adapter, the BRC controller and the remote controllers, although functional, cannot be used with the system. They will cause conflicts. The translation adapter design was made so it would fit behind most wall unit models in the lower middle section. This is our first view of the translation adapter. We have the adapter itself on a mounting plate that you can either screw to a surface or use adhesive tape. We have all the connections made on the adapter and then a front cover. Interior view on the S21 units. The Phoenix plugs are removable. We'll have a connection for the 1, 2, and the RNC on the Daikin One. And then the cable provided, a 6-foot S21 cable that connect to the S21 of the indoor unit. And the power cable, 110 or 208, 230. On the P1, P2 style with the VRV or the multis using the BRC style controller, we will not use the cable. The cable will be thrown away and we'll use the 2-wire P1, P2 connection. When using the P1, P2 connection and not the supplied S21 cable, you should have a field supplied 18 2 conducted non-shielded stranded wire. All communication will be ran on stranded wire and always non-shielded. You are limited to 6 feet, although your P1, P2 length is 1,640 feet. Between the translation adapter and the first P1, P2 connection, you should be 6 foot. Only one of the communication terminals is used prior indoor unit. Never use the S21 and P1, P2 at the same time. This is designed to go to a single indoor head or up to 16 of the VRV or the multis using the P1, P2 D3 network. Again, on most indoor systems, you'll see the S21 on all the FTXSs. The P1, P2 terminals will be used on all of the VRV product and the displayed product here for the multis. The FTX, please notify us if you're going to be using the translation adapter on the FTX. We'll let you know. You can also reference the service manual to see if the control board for that model FTX or that BTU or that series does have the S21 connector on board. The S21 communicating wire shown here will connect directly from the S21 terminal to the S21 of the unit. And when you power up, we'll have the power lights on the translation adapter, the green light for power and the green light for the S21. When using the P1, P2, we'll use the P1, P2 terminal and the power lights on the P1, P2, and the power will both be green. As of 12/7/2020, the P1, P2 function is not available. When it becomes available on the Daikin One thermostat, the translation adapter is ready to go. Obtain power for the unit. This is an example on the top, getting the 208, 230 off the indoor unit. And down below is the sample of if you want to connect it on a separate connector, you can get 120 volts or 220 from any other source. This is a view of the lights. They do sit under a little rubber grommet, and we'll see a photograph of that in a moment. Here's two system diagrams for the translation adapter showing the Daikin One connecting and the translation adapter connecting to the indoor head. If you are using an indoor head, such as the 9000 FTX, where we do not have the S21 connector, we'll use an interface adapter that will connect into the S21. And the interface adapter will talk to the translation adapter. For P1, P2 indoor units, it's an example of the Daikin One going to the translation adapter and going to the first unit of the daisy chain, and it can be a single unit or up to 16 indoor heads. The thermostat will show 0 through 15 for the indoor heads, and all the field settings will be available in the Daikin One thermostat. All right, this is a real life application. This is a FTXG head, and I wanted to show this head because it does have the extra screw hole. So when we're taking off the front cover, we have the 2 screws at the bottom, and with the FTXG, we have the extra screw in the upper right. And like on other FTX models, we have the clips, 3 clips across the top, shown with a little arrow to lift up. And again, when removing the front cover, make sure you're clear of any flaps in the front. On the FTXG, we also have a little bit of extra hardware. This is a photograph between the unit and the front cover. And you'll see the gearing lever there. We'll have to remove the front cover from the gearing lever. And then we have the extra motor that drives that front panel present on the right. That's held in with a single screw on the FTXG. And we'll remove that out of the way, and then the black cover to get to the control board. So unboxing the translation adapter, and you'll see the plate. I'm applying this to a display we have in our showroom. So we'll have it out and open. This is just screwed to the display and snapped in place, and you get your first look of the S21 cable ran through the body of the unit. It's a great view of the lights, little rubber grommets removed. We have our power light and our S21. You'll see up top we have our common and our R that feed over to the thermostat. And then we have our data 1 and our data 2, and we're not using the P1, P2. And the S21 connector shown in the right hand corner there. If you notice on my data 1, I have the black wire and the red wire on data 2. And then when I wired the Daikin One sub base, I got the data 1 and 2 reversed. I wanted to show this because I wanted to show my result, what I ended up with. And this is what I got, a system error. When I saw a system error, I checked the bias voltage. I was at a 0.58. Got the system error. When I realized I had the error, we corrected the wires. Notice 2 things on here is the power light stays lit and the S21 light stays lit regardless of the thermostat being connected or not. They're not used to troubleshoot the thermostat at all. After reconnection, I had a 0.59 bias voltage below the 0.6 I expected or higher, and very little change when I changed the bias of the 2. Connecting the S21 connector on the FTXG, one of the reasons I chose it was I can get the S21 connector without pulling the control board out. It's quick and simple. And you'll see the S21 connector right on the very edge of the control board on this model. And with a little bit of cussing, you're able to get your finger in there and get the S21 cable in place. On some of the models, it may require for the board to be removed. If you're ever in need of removing a control panel and you're not sure how to do it, you can check out our johnstonecaffertygroup.com, and under removal procedures, we have guides to remove all the control boards, motors, parts, pieces from the outdoor and the indoor units. Shows you every screw layout on removal. Connecting the 230 volts AC, I decided to just go to the 1 and the 2, pick up the 230 directly off the indoor head, and notice my connections here, the black and white wire being added. The number 3 is untouched. Never interrupt the number 3, never splice the number 3, never connect anything else to the number 3. When you boot up, you will see an error on equipment setup. It does not find the equipment on its own. It finds the translation adapter and stops. So you have to actually enter the equipment setup. And in this case, we'll see equipment setup, the indoor and outdoor unit, and both have to be set. Here's looking at the indoor unit. We'll have both the model and the unit type available to us. When entering the unit type, you'll see we'll mark, in this case, a wall mount unit. This will make a difference if we're looking at airflows. And choosing the model. In this case, I chose the model listed FTXG. All the models should be listed on here as compatible with. And when you choose the FTXG, it shows you the 3 tonnages available for that model. Gives you an option to enter a serial number. It doesn't find it on its own. You don't have to enter anything. In this case, I entered a 1 for the indoor and nothing for the outdoor, and everything went fine. This is an example of the outdoor unit. Just entered the outdoor, and I chose the matching outdoor unit for the indoor head. And again, after we enter that information, we can do complete setup and go. Now our installation is complete. I'd like to just point out a couple items on the Daikin One. If we enter settings, go to configuration, go to system components. We'll see here's where we can go to the thermostat and we could check the version of the software. We also should go into the indoor or outdoor equipment and verify it took our settings. We also have the added feature under Add Equipment in our setup where we can add an auxiliary heat source. In this case, we're saying the heat pump is the primary heat. And the backup's going to be driven off the auxiliary 1 contact on the Daikin One. Again, this will be a dry contact. So in the way we just set it up, the heat pump would be primary. If we lost too much ground, it would close the auxiliary 1 dry contact, allowing you to bring on, let's just say, a contactor to bring on baseboard heat. We also have an option of viewing the indoor and outdoor unit. At this time, we display the suction temperature of the indoor and the air temperature of the outdoor. Under fan settings, a bit more robust. You can see this is a wall unit. In the options we have options of showing a lock speed, a position, in this case on this model, the vertical position, the horizontal position. I have it fixed on both so it blows one direction. And likewise for the heating, I can have the horizontal and the vertical move separately on this model, so I can go in and change that for cooling and heating separately. We also have a great new feature, especially when this is in a small, maybe light commercial style operation. We have the option of going auto heat and cool, which we did already on the remote control of a standard wall or floor model unit. Once we've enabled the auto feature, we can go into the settings and go into the deadband settings, deadband / overcool. In this case, we have our deadband set to 2 degrees. Remember, when using the remote control, the offsets are 5 above and 5 below, which puts it at a 10-degree deadband. There's no way to change the 10-degree deadband when using the remote controller on the mini and multi splits. With the Daikin One, we can go as low as 2, although we will have to look at some other items. And while we have on this screen, I want to point out the FTXG has a lot of dehumidification options for a mini split. The one that gets disabled is the Sahara Dry, but we do have other dehumidification options with it, including overcooling, and that's displayed here. In this case, I have an overcool at 0. If I set it at 1, and I set my comfort level humidity during a high humidity situation, I would allow overcooling. When we do a auto changeover and we make it as tight as 2, we have to go in and we have to do a timer. So in this case, you can see my start timer differential is 1 degree. 1 degree off, I'll start my timer, and the changeover timer is 15 minutes. So I cannot go from heat to cool in under 15 minutes in this case. And thank you from the Johnson Cafferty group. I'm going to keep that review quick and fast as possible. We will be doing an update when the P1, P2 adapter comes out. And we do have other great videos, a little more in depth on the Daikin One. When the P1, P2 adapter comes out, we'll go in depth on the field settings on the Daikin One controller. Thank you very much.